Hey guys, and welcome finally back to the Ryujin 2.1 complete tutorial. Now, last time we left off, we were right here. We'd finished collapsing this bottom section, and we just had the scales and the transition units left to collapse. So I've gone ahead and done a couple of the transition units just along here, and I will show you how to do a couple of them, and then we'll start on the scales. So this is what a transition unit looks like. What it does is it makes the paper go from having units like this to like this. So when you start with a transition unit, your pleat is gonna look like this. It's gonna be a big pleat like this. And we have, you can see in the paper how we've pleated it through here. So to illustrate that, we're gonna pleat this like this. So now we have this piece here, and if we fold it over, we can start to make a transition unit. So you can see just by folding this over, we have this entire flap that can stick up and we can work with it. So to make it into a transition unit, what you do is you kind of squash one side like this. You squash it, and then you follow this crease all the way up to the top to where this is. And then this side, you don't want to squash it, you want to press that corner in and valley fold along this crease. So it just pops into place like that. So it folds together, and then you can pleat it like this. So I'll show you what it looks like on this paper, how to do it, but that's essentially the transition unit. That's the fastest way to collapse it. The back looks like this. So if you take this unit and fold it over and then pop this part in, looks like that. So now I'm going to show you how to do that in the model, but not super descriptively, because if you've made it this far in Ryujin 2.1 and you've made other models, you probably know how to do transition units. There are transition units in the Origami Basilisk by Bodo Hag and a lot of other models, so I'm not going to go too deep into that, but we're going to just continue like this. So to start on the transition units are the pieces that, the folds that you put together so that the paper goes from this formation to this formation right here. So we're gonna start, really I'm in the middle right now, but the end is really the same thing as the middle, and just that will look like this. But what you do to start is you need to find out what side you're on of the transition units. So this needs to shift over. So we need to turn this over. So we're right here. So you can see, to just figure out which side you're on, you can just flip the model over. And you can see right here, we have two layers of paper on top of each other. And we don't want that. So we're gonna swivel this over like that. So this is swiveling over. Now what we do is, since this swivels over, we're going to flatten one side along that crease. So this is half of the other unit. And you all probably know how to do transition units, but that's half. Flatten this in half, like this. And then this point, take the other side and fold it to here, and press that point in. And really you just want to get the folds so that they're in the position. So since you've already pre-creased them, get them so that they're ready to get in position, like this. So these are right here. Now all you have to do is just work up here, and what you need to do is, it's kind of they all look the same, they're just from different sides. So on this side, you gotta take this, press this in, and you gotta go from both sides really. So if you look from this side, you'll see we'll start to get this coming out. And you wanna get that line there. So then this right here, you gotta pull the paper out like that. Now press this in. Like that. So really what you want is something like this. You're gonna have this corner out like that. When these all collapse together, and then you can tuck this under here, and you'll have two layers on top of each other again, and you can just do that over and over. So you have to do that all the way down. I'll show you some more times, but it's not terribly complicated. I'm gonna clip this here. And it's very repetitive, so. And it's really hard to get the units behind the model to stay in place. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just folding along the bottom here. Just making a long mountain and valley fold that goes through this just to hold these in place. So I'll just go on these right here. So just make a mountain fold. That's what I'm making, a mountain fold. And then just folding it up so that these stay locked in place. And just continue it. I'm gonna clip it off with these little clips. And just continue it down. Like this. This mountain fold, well, this pleat that we're adding here will be helpful just to hold these in place. Like this. And then I'm just gonna get some of these just to hold those down. So it should look like this. And then you can put that up there. So it should look pretty neat, which is what you want. Like that. And I'm not gonna do right where we are, because that would get confusing. So now to make the next transition unit, we're gonna open the paper a little more and then make the swivel fold over like this and flatten. And just try to get the creases in place that you're gonna want, where you want them. So get the smaller pleats in place. Like this. And now you can go underneath and really start to press the folds in. Just here. And what I'm going to do at this point is fold this and then continue the pleat like this and put a clip on them like that so that they stay in place, maybe a little farther down. And now we're going to flip it over. And we'll see, it's right here. So if this is the one we did before, this one, we need to first off continue the pleats. So we need to see where they go. Alright. So we know they go up to here, and we know this edge is going to be popping out. So right up here, we're going to find the edge that's going to come out. So right here. And this, you got to find that half unit. And then this, where they meet, make the diagonal fold up to where the regular units are. Then fold that over. And then this one tucks under in there. And then just start to get it in position more. And then you can flip it over again if you need to. But it looks like it's starting to head in. Right there. And you can see from this side, it looks like this. In there, just fold it over. Now push this up. Like that. I'm gonna remove this and make these down here a little bit neater. And just fold that back up when you're done. Like that. So now we have this. I'm just going to flip it over one more time to make sure that everything fell into position correctly. And you should see it should look exactly like the other side with this little corner coming out. Like that. So I'm gonna do it. We have to do it a couple more times until we get to this part. So I'm just gonna show you this part right here. This, when you pop it out, it's at this corner here. And all you do here is this kind of stretches here. Like that. When you collapse it, it's gonna look like this. So you make this diagonal crease here, and then this kind of rabbit ear here that just folds over, and then a diagonal here that folds over. And when you just push it all together, these should come together like this and collapse. So now just continue that, doing transition units. I haven't done them here. Continue doing it all the way to the end, and then we will start on the scales. Alright, so now if you have all of your transition units in place, we can go ahead and work on the scales. So I'm going to start right here down at this end. And we're just going to start by finding this crease that just comes right up here, the little pleat. And we're going to get it and just make it like this. And this should just go right like this. It would be undoing the first transition unit, and we would have this. Now we're going to go ahead and undo the second transition unit, just pull it out, and we're going to get this piece and just pleat it over. So we're making, kind of pleating these over to make the scales. The creases should already be there. You should be doing this on existing creases. Now we're going to start going from the bottom. So right here, locate these creases and fold them over. And then these creases. And then this can start to form to a point, you see, like this. When these all fold up together, and then you can just tuck that underneath. Now, when we do it, we'll go both as one. So, take the, well, when we untuck them. So we'll take these out, this first one, and we'll do this one simultaneously. Now what we do is this will come to a point here, like that, and we can fold that up in there. And now we're almost to the point where we can get a full scale set in there. So let's do this one more time. Like this. And this will all be a little bit easier once we start getting the scales in. It'll lie flat. Because right now we kind of have this accordion looking thing. There are just all these pieces coming out. And now we have this. Now on this next one we can actually make the scale part. So make sure that all these are very well tight together. So just make sure that all of these are popped into place like this, and just fold it. And what you can do is fold this underneath like this. And that is the tail. I'm gonna clip that off. And now we have our beginning part for the scales. So that's the tail right there. Now we're gonna do that one more time. But this time, what we can do is we will get these parts to lie flat back here. So right here, if we take this, we can pleat this up. So when we make this new one, we can get this to fold over like that. And it will connect to here on the transition unit. And then if we do it again at the top, like this, you'll see that we can connect to the transition unit over here and fold this over like that. Now just do that same thing over and over again all the way down. So we take this these should be folded over like this. So we'll take the pleat just like we've been doing, but now it'll connect to this point down here. You can, if you push from underneath, get from here and fold this down on those existing creases. And then start the same fold down here. Make sure your other folds are correct. Start that down here. Then what you can do is just grab this here again and fold this over. And you can see it's starting to make scales like this. So just continue doing that all the way down. It should look like this. And you just continue taking them, folding them over. And you want to make sure the scales are very neat, because this is going to be on the outside of the model. The stuff on the inside you won't really see, but you really want this to look really good. So just continue folding it up and then pleating it over, untucking these and then folding this part over, and just continue that all the way down, and then I'll show you when I'm done. Once you get to the end, just continue making the same pleats, even though they'll be a little bit off the paper. You still should be able to see them. And just continue doing the same thing. Continuing the creases and folding them down. Then on the bottom. And then fold over. And you can also check the bottom to see if it's holding together well and make it a little bit neater. But just continue once you have all those creases in, and then just start again. Push that in. Now, you want to make sure that it all lies flat before you do these last couple, because the last couple are really hard, because all the paper wants to spring up and it doesn't want to lie flat like this. So, you want to press the paper flat right before it really well. So then you can make the pleats easier. And I'd assemble them at the same time, because at the bottom it can be hard, and at the top it can be hard if you just do them by themselves. But if you do them together, they should fold into place a lot easier. And then this just folds up like that. Kind of like another one, but just like it's continuing off. Like that. Now just do the last couple pleats on each corner. So, pleat it right here. And just really do the same thing. Make the scales like that. And it should just look like that when you're done pleating it. And then you can just press it all together. And then do that for the top. So fold it over. And then this one. Alright, so that is the completed scales for the bottom of Ryujin 2.1. Should look like this. And now that we've finished, we can work on this mess up here and work on that in the next episode. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I will try to film the second episode, or the 6th episode later today, and try to collapse that. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this, and if you were following along, if you made it to this point. And thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.